Okay, hello. Today I'm going to be reading The Art and Science of Hand Reading, Classical Methods for Self-Discovery Through Palmistry by Alan Goldberg and Dorian Ergin. This is my first time reading a book, so just bear with me, like on live or video, I guess I meant. So this book is under the category of spirituality and divination, the art and science of handwriting. Palmistry is a science and a universal language. The hand tells a story about your talents, relationships, health, and how you feel about yourself. It reveals periods of ease or challenge in your life, and it speaks about your weaknesses and the traits that you need to develop. As you change, so do your hands, reflecting the progress you have made. In this comprehensive guide to hand reading, based on Alan Goldberg's 40 years of teaching palmistry and the Western mystery tradition, the authors make the powerful insights of the hand accessible in an inviting and user-friendly manner. The book presents the character traits and personality archetypes associated with each of the 7 mounts of the palm and shows how to determine which are most influential in the nature of the individual. The mount archetypes reveal the lifestyle, love, sex, and marriage preferences, the best career choices, and the unique strengths and weaknesses for each person. The book also examines other factors that enhance the qualities revealed by the mount types, including the flexibility of the hand, texture of the skin, and the shapes of the fingers, fingertips, and nails. The meaning of each major and minor line is described in detail, as well as the influence the person's own mind has in healing defects and obstacles found on their lines. The authors also provide accurate timing guides for each line, making it possible to locate specific events and see how your line changes over time. Okay, so got my little ducky duck here. So there's like a little excerpt or a little poem. It says, "Let nature be your guide, and with your art follow her closely. With her you'll err. Let reason be your staff, experience lend, power to your sight that you may see afar. Let reading be your lamp, dispelling dark, that you may guard against throngs of things and words." An introduction to hand reading, the hand-mind connection. And here's a sample of my hand if you want to see. I honestly doubt if I can get like super close. Oh, that's cool, right? I guess. So maybe I'm not going to reveal too much. An introduction to hand reading, the hand-mind connection. Reading a hand is like reading a book. That book is about you, the most interesting and important subject to know about. There's only one set of hands in the whole world like yours, and that's yours. The story your hand tells is about your strengths, your talents, your personality traits, your health, and how you feel about yourself. It also reveals your weaknesses and the traits you need to develop to become a well-rounded person. Okay, so gaining insight into human nature benefits both you and others and save you valuable time and energy. Knowledge of palmistry will help you make the most of your life and approach your opportunities, challenges, and relationships with confidence and ease. The purpose of this book is to teach you how to acquire this knowledge in an easy and enjoyable manner. Know thyself. These wise words were inscribed over the entrance to the ancient temple at Delphi. This advice is at the core of every religion and philosophy and is as important today as it was 3,000 years ago. Self-knowledge is crucial for getting the most out of life and living up to your potential. The journey toward self-knowledge has many paths. Each person must find his or her own way. But we need not make this journey alone. Life has provided us with numerous signposts to guide us. Palmistry is one of the most accessible. Other time-honored paths are meditation, philosophy, religion, and psychology. Palmistry is one of the earliest forms of psychology, for it allowed people to look below the surface and see the inner workings of the mind. To know thyself is essential, but in today's complex world, to know others is equally important. This knowledge will allow your journey through life to take place with greater poise, harmony, and success. People appreciate being seen for who they are. They value someone who understands them. When you understand others, you feel more confident in your interactions with them. You will be more successful in dealing with other people if you understand how their minds work. People often put their best foot forward when meeting for the first time. With the knowledge you gain from this book, you are more likely to be on target when choosing an employee, business associate, or new friend. This is also true when choosing a prospective romantic partner. In an instant, you will know important traits about a person that might have otherwise taken months or years to be revealed. Everyone can benefit from this book. It is written both for readers who are curious to know themselves and others better and for the professional palmist. It is written both for readers who are curious to know themselves and others better and for the professional palmist. Okay. This book is a much needed clarification of the subject of palmistry, a universal language. Palmistry is a science and a universal language. The laws of palmistry hold true for all the hands in the world. It does not matter what culture you come from. If you know how to read palms, you can have a deep understanding of people from all over the world. Many philosophers and mystics believe that life is a school in which we are learning lessons every day. Your hand is a guide in the school of life. The indications written in the hand are not considered a fixed fate. There is no fate set in stone. The hand is analogous to a report card from the school of life written by your inner self. This report reflects how you are doing in many areas of your life. It tells what inner resources you have to work with, where you seem to be healing, where you seem to be heading, and where you need improvement. One of the most fascinating things about palmistry is that the hand is capable of changing. Palmistry demonstrates that there is no fixed fate and that we all play an essential part in creating our lives. We do this consciously and unconsciously. However, creating our lives consciously is better. Many of the great spiritual masters have said that it is our thinking that has the most powerful influence on the course of our lives. With our thoughts we make our world, Buddha. As a man thinketh in his heart, so shall he be, Jesus. Energy follows thought, New Age amorphism. Nothing is more powerful than our thoughts and beliefs about ourselves. As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. The hand is like a mirror. As you change, it also changes, reflecting those changes back to you. Knowing how to read your own palm allows you to see the progress you're making in your life. People with a spiritual inclination have referred to the palm as God's roadmap. Purely practical people have called it a map of the brain. Either way you choose to see it, the palm is filled with valuable information. The hand-mind connection. The hand is the outside part of the brain. Go with. It is important to remember that there are two parts to the mind, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. They are always working simultaneously. The conscious mind is our everyday waking mind. It is the part of the mind we use for learning, reading, thinking, gathering information, and organizing and prioritizing our tasks. The subconscious mind is our inner mind. It exerts a sometimes subtle and always powerful influence. It is the source of our imagination and dreams. All habitual actions, the things we do without thinking about them, are influenced by the subconscious. It is the part of the mind that is awake even when we are sleeping. It runs the automatic functions of the body, functions such as breathing, circulation, and metabolism. Old memories are stored here, especially the ones we don't think about much or remember consciously. The subconscious is always the seat of intuition. The changes that occur in the hand come from the subconscious mind. A neurologist would tell you that there are more nerves between the hand and the brain than between any other 2 points of the nervous system. Each thought has a chemical effect or signature. That accompanies it. So it follows that every thought we have affects our nervous system. Happy thoughts make us feel good, while anxious or fearful thoughts make us feel distressed. The mind is as fast as lightning. For example, the adrenaline and stress hormones that initiate the body's fight or flight response are secreted instantly when fear takes hold of us. We have the power to change our lives by changing our patterns of thought. Repeated thought patterns leave their mark on the hand. If you want to change the hand, the change must be authentic. You cannot fool the subconscious. The inner mind knows when a change is authentic. It may require many repetitions of thinking a new way until the new thought patterns become ingrained. But once the new habit becomes part of you, the hand will rapidly reflect these changes. A brief history of palmistry. Since the beginning of time, people have contemplated their hands. Our prehistoric ancestors likely knew that each hand was unique, as evidenced by the many hand shapes that accompany the pictures of animals and people on cave walls. It is as though the artists used their handprints as signatures or magical talismans. There is evidence that palmistry was practiced as a serious art in every ancient civilization. But if we trace its roots to the very beginning, it is probable that the art and science of palmistry had its birth in India. References to palmistry appear in the texts that were written in India more than 4,000 years ago. The Indian Vedas, among the oldest religion texts in the world, make references to handreading. Some ancient scriptures instruct monks not to read palms for money. This caution to the monks let us know that palmistry was already a profession in 2000 BCE. So honestly, I kind of want to skip this like little preface. Okay, well, this looks like important. Okay, so a brief introduction to the mounts and lines. Most of the information we will learn about a person will come from the mounts and the lines of the hand. The mounts are the pads of flesh that rise up in the palm. Their fullness and height vary in each individual hand. The strongest mounts in a hand are the source of the dominant character traits of the individual. Each mount represents an archetype, a personality pattern repeated since the dawn of time. The 7 mounts of the hand could just as easily be called the 7 archetypes of the palm. Later in this book, you will learn to judge the strength or weakness of these archetypes as they are expressed in a person's hand. The lines are like rivers of energy. Each line represents a specific quality such as intelligence, vitality, and emotional capacity. Many interesting variations in character are told by other factors, such as those found in the fingers, skin, and nails. These features express variety and individuality within the mount types. We call these factors the basic modifiers. They will be the first topic we study in palmistry. As we read about the basic modifiers, it is useful to keep in mind some key words associated with each mount. This makes learning about the modifiers fun and interesting. Although we will cover each mount and line in depth, the following is a simplified overview to get started. The mounts. The mounts are the pads of flesh that rise and fall over the surface of the palm. The word mount is derived from mountain, extending the analogy of the hand as God's roadmap. The names of the 7 mounts recall what are commonly called the 7 planets of the ancients and the gods of Greek and Roman mythology. These names also identify each of the fingers that has a mount at its base. See the table, the 7 mounts of the hand on page 7. The influence of a mount is strong when the mount stands up from the palm high and full. Occasionally, one mount is stronger by far than all of the others, and this makes its characteristics dominant in the individual's personality. More often, there are 2 mounts that have equal influence upon the personality, and the person is okay, that I'm gonna go to the next page, but oh yeah, some like mounts come out more than like others on the side. So the mounts are gonna be Venus, Luna, Upper Mars, Mercury, Apollo, Saturn, Jupiter, and Lower Mars. So okay, so I don't know. I don't know if I should read this. Okay, so it says Mount Jupiter, which is this one right here, or which is on your right hand, this little section right here. It's the leader. Key attributes: ambition, leadership, individuality, spirituality, love of nature, honor, confidence, self-assertion, benevolence, concern for humanity, diplomacy, socially sociability, love of food, marriage-minded, and the possible weakness, domineering, excessive pride, and gluttony. Saturn, the scholar, which is this middle right here. Well, you can see it, but hardworking, introverted, prudent, cautious, economical, serious, scholarly, love of wisdom, philosophical, scientific, loner, dry sense of humor, the balanced will of the hand. Possible weaknesses: fear, depression, hoarding, extreme introversion, melancholy, repressed, pessimistic. Apollo, the sun, the artist, is this one like right in the middle. Creative, spontaneous. Oh yeah, mine's a little bit more out right there. So I'm for sure Apollo right there. Creative, spontaneous, charming, extroverted, optimistic, risk taker, fun, loving, happy, talented, glamorous, entertaining, charismatic, lover of beauty and color, versatile, adaptable, intuitive, and lucky. Yeah, that's me. Possible weakness: quick temper, gambling, changeable, fickle emotions, and egocentric. Mercury, the communicator. This guy right here. Yeah, it's this little one right here. Skilled communicator, mentally and physically active, industrious, problem solver, shrewd, money, conscious, business-minded, scientific, family-orientated, diplomatic, instinctive, knowledge of human nature. Workaholic, those are the key attributes. And the possible weakness: workaholic, manipulative, dishonest, and a schemer. Mars, the warrior. Mars. Uh, I guess it's both of these. I guess brave, courageous, energetic, sexual, assertive, direct, honest, determined, resilient, loyal, passionate, persevering, athletic, full of stamina, the warrior. Possible weakness: overly forceful, too intense, sexually compulsive, or aggressive. And Luna, the moon, is this one right here. The visionary, imaginative, intuitive, psychic, sensitive, mystical, introverted, unpredictable, love of solitude, command of language, love of travel. Possible weaknesses: impractical, dreamer, excessive imagination, tendency to lie, cool, remote, lazy, restless, changeable, selfish. And Venus, the lover, is this one. Yeah, this one right here. Loving, warming, tender, joyful, sympathetic, compassionate, generous, optimistic, happy, graceful, love of beauty and pleasure, sexual, passionate, selfless, nurturing, belief in the brotherhood of man. Possible weakness: lazy, passive, subservient, hedonist, and can't say no. Okay, so the last sentence said, more often there are two mounts that have equal influence upon the personality, and the person is the combination of traits of both mounts. Archetypes. These interesting blends produce endless variations in human nature. We'll explore this more fully in Chapter 12, Mount Combination. The lines of the palm. The lines of the palm are the rivers of energy in the map of the hand. There are 6 major lines and numerous minor ones. In this brief overview, we will only cover the major lines. Both the major and minor lines will be covered in detail later in the book. Every hand typically has a headline, a heart line, and a lifeline. While considered to be major lines, the lines of Saturn, Apollo, and Mercury appear less frequently. When examining a line, the depth of the channel it cuts and the clarity of the line determines its strength. When a line is deep and clear, the aspect represented by the line is functioning well. When a line is thin or broken, that aspect of the person is weak or challenged. Do not be frightened by a delicate line. Lines change more easily than any other part of the hand. They are there for guidance and to show you where you should focus. While etched into the hand, lines are not cut in stone. Their ability to change shows us that fate is fluid. Okay, so I'm guessing the heart line for me on my hand is not really like there. It is, but it isn't. I'm trying to see. So the heart line it's kind of light and it goes like this to like that. So mine's is like barely. And the headline is gonna be this one that goes from here to there. The one that goes from here to there. The lifeline is C. This one, the one that goes like that. Like, see right there, the one that goes like that. And then D, Saturn line, the one that it goes straight down, but I don't really have like a straight down one. So E, Apollo line, I don't really have an Apollo line either. I just have like little lines. And F, Mercury line, I guess it's, oh, I guess I do have it. Kind of, it's like this one that goes from here to there. Okay. The heart line indicates the physical state of the heart and the emotional capability of the individual. The line begins near the Mount of Jupiter and runs across the hand. When the line is deep and clear, the person is steady in their emotions, devoted, and reliable. A thin or chained line indicates the person is more fickle, sentimental, and changeable. I have a super soft line. I can't even see it. The headline is indicative of one's intelligence and one's ability to concentrate and focus. It begins under the Mount of Jupiter, close to the beginning of the lifeline. So the headline. Oh yeah, that's the one that goes straight for me. When the line is clear, the person can think clearly. When the line is thin or changed, the mental power is weakened and the individual may experience confusion and lack of focus. Oh yeah, I have a chain for sure. Can't really see, but you can. Occasionally, the head and the heart lines combine into one line. This is called a simian line. And indicates the head and heart function as one. Oh shoot, mine is literally that. The simian line bestows intensity and depth of focus. For those with the simian line, thinking has an emotional quality to it, and their emotions are influenced by the mind. The lifeline encircles a thumb. Oh yeah, in a wide arch. It provides information about a person's vitality and ability to resist illness. It does not tell the length of one's life, but records how long energy will be a gift. When the line is deep and clear, the person's energy and recuperative ability is strong. When the line is thin, broken, or changed, energy runs low and the ability to withstand illness is diminished. Mine's is there. The Saturn line, also known as the line of security and the line of fate, represents, oh, that one goes straight down, represents how secure the person feels. This can be based on internal or external factors. The line begins near the wrist and runs upward towards the mount. Oh, okay. So that's the Saturn line. Okay. Okay. So mine's is kind of like curved. Every change in the line indicates a new cycle of life. When the line is deep and clear, the person feels secure and conditions are favorable for any undertaking. When the line is missing or defective, the person must work twice as hard. Many people who are self-made successes have no line of Saturn. Wow, I barely have anything. The Apollo line is called the line of art of or the line of recognition. This line appears rarely, but when it does, it confers creative ability and the possibility of recognition in the person's chosen field. This line runs from the wrist up toward the Mount of Apollo. The Apollo line? Okay. The Mercury line is also referred to as the line of health. Mercury F. This line appears in less than 50% of hands. A person can have excellent health with or without this line. The Mercury line describes certain distant health issues, mostly dealing with the digestive system and the liver. If it is deep and clear, it will confer good health and improve even a delicate lifeline. It is valuable to take some time to become familiar with this basic information about the mounts and lines, as they will give you a greater appreciation of the information on the basic modifiers in part 1. Okay. Always read both hands. When reading a palm, always ask a person whether they are right or left-handed. Either way, it is wise to look at both. Although we concentrate on reading the dominant hand, each hand offers valuable information with a slightly different view. The dominant hand changes far more readily than the recessive. The dominant hand is the one used for writing in complex manual tasks. It is usually the strongest hand. Because the dominant hand changes as we change, it offers the most up-to-date information. It is the hand of now and of the future as of now. The well-developed mounts on this hand have the most influence on the personality, and its lines show the current life circumstances. The recessive hand changes very little over time and shows us the characteristics. Given at birth. Oh. I see. The characteristics given at birth. Okay, I'm lost. Okay. The well-developed mounts on this hand have the most influence on the personality, and its lines show the current life circumstances. The recessive hand changes very little over time and shows us the characteristics given at birth. Everything written in the recessive hand is considered to be a possibility stored in the subconscious mind. The recessive hand shows untapped aspects of the self or qualities lying dormant within. A palmistry saying sums it up. The recessive hand shows the qualities given at birth, while the dominant hand shows what's become of them. We can see, for better or worse, how a person has evolved from the original psychic blueprint of the palm. Some people stay very close to the original pattern, and the two hands will appear quite similar. More often, there is a difference between the hands, and this can tell you a great deal. You can often see at a glance if the person has not lived up to their full potential, or whether they are significantly evolved a part of themselves or overcome a challenge. The differences can appear anywhere, in the development of the mounts, the clarity of lines, or in the basic modifiers. Any of these differences can have a strong impact on the personality. Occasionally, you will meet an ambidextrous person or someone who has forced to change-handedness by parents or life circumstances. This is a bit more complex. In reading these hands, you may have to concentrate on what the two hands have in common, which may be a great deal. You will still have much to tell these people, although you will have to ask more questions. Asking questions is a good habit to acquire, as reading a hand should be thought of as a partnership between you and the person whose hand you are reading. In ambidextrous persons, you can use each hand for different kinds of information. For example, ask which hand the person uses for writing, and that would be the hand used to interpret the headline. The hand used for manual or sport activities would be the one with the up-to-date information on the lifeline. You can determine which hand to use for the heartline by asking which they use to reach out to other people. Whether reading the palms of someone who is right-handed, left-handed, or ambidextrous, comparing the two hands is fascinating and informative and allows us a more comprehensive picture of the person. Okay, so part 1, the basic modifiers. The attributes that make each hand unique. As noted in the introduction, the most pertinent information about a person's character comes from the dominant mount. However, all people of a similar mount type are not alike. Countless differences in character are explained by variations in the fingers, skins, and nails. These are the basic modifiers. Each of the 7 mounts or 7 archetypes has character traits that range from the lowest to the highest possibilities of their type. The 2 extremes of the spectrum are called the higher and lower polarities. According to Carl Jung, all archetypes contain each polarity. The basic modifiers help to determine where along the spectrum of possibility a person's character lies. For instance, a person of the Jupiterian archetype with coarse textured skin and a stiff hand will tend to be a tyrant. The same archetype with a fine grade of skin and a flexible hand will be a sensitive leader open to hearing the opinions of others. Each modifier contributes another aspect of character. This example uses the information provided by only two of the modifiers, texture and consistency. Imagine the character variations of the archetype when you notice 5, 6, or 7 of these modifiers. These modifiers will seemingly to be small fries before the feast of the archetypes are really the defining points of the character. Understanding them gives you a fascinating view into human nature. Okay, so I'm going to read maybe a couple pages of chapter 1 today and then get through the rest another day, but I just wanted to kind of start. Okay, so chapter 1, texture, flexibility, consistency, coloring, and size of the hand. When Alan was a budding palmist, she had the opportunity to read the hand of then heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. She expected to find the dominant mount of the palm was Mars, as Mars represents the warrior and is bravest and most physical of all the types. But the equal strength of the mounts of Mars and Venus was a surprise. This made him strong, masculine, passionate, loyal, and very loving. A more unique mixture of traits that came from his very fine textured skin, combined with a hand that was hard as a rock. A combination of two important basic modifiers. Rock hard firmness is rare and usually is indicative of boundless energy, which is body-centered and less cerebral. However, the fine textured skin mitigates this. Fine skin softens and refines the nature, brings out the higher aspects of the archetype, and augments the mental aspects of Mars and Venus. Ali was both strong as steel and refined as silk. As we make our way through this chapter, we will first consider each modifier separately and then learn how to blend the information to discover the unique story each one tells. Try to put it. Where was I? When you find one of the basic modifiers in an extreme form, as in Ali's hard hand, it will become one of the ruling forces in the personality. This is true of any of the indications in the hand that are found in the extreme. As we see in the example of Ali, the basic modifiers help us identify nuances within the archetypes of the mounts, allowing us to deepen our understanding of the individuality of the person whose hands we are studying. Texture of the skin. The texture of the skin is one of the first characteristics you will want to become aware of when you read a palm. The skin texture indicates the refinement of the individual. It is one of the most important keys to a person's inner nature. In palmistry, it is said that the finer the skin, the finer the nature. Conversely, when the skin feels coarse, the person's nature will be coarse. Remember, every aspect of the hand is analogous to character. Keeping the skin texture in mind allows you to make the best assessment of which archetypal characteristics will be most prominent. The key to determining the texture of the skin is your own fingertip. Notice how the skin feels to you when you stroke the back of the hand. The finest skin feels like velvet or the skin of a newborn baby. The coarsest skin feels like sandpaper or the leather on the bottom of a worn shoe. There are many gradations between these two extremes. We use the back of the hand rather than the palm to determine texture because the palm may be easily calloused by manual work. Ditch digging, sailing, gardening, and many other activities, and therefore the palm is not always the best indication of the grade of skin. The back of the hand is more reliable. You will need to touch and stroke the skin of many hands in order to become acquainted with the wide range and variety of textures. Do not be afraid to look at hands while you are learning palmistry. To become familiar with the basic modifiers, you must look at many hands. Often people feel that they know too little to request a look at another person's palms. The solution is to state up front that you're a student of palmistry and would like to look for certain indications in the hand. When people know that you're a student, they do not expect you to tell them everything. However, you can gather a huge group of willing and devoted subjects among friends, family, and coworkers by telling them that you will consistently look at their hands as you progress in your studies. This way you will never lack for subjects. We will now cover 3 basic grades of skin: fine, coarse, and medium, the balance of the two extremes. Fine skin. Fine skin feels like the skin of a newborn baby. It is smooth like silk or velvet and often has a slight shine to it. People with fine skin are very sensitive and have natural refinement. They are also sensitive to their environments and to the feelings of other people. Each of the 7 archetypes is elevated by fine skin. Fine skin brings out the best attributes of the archetype and often makes a difference in classifying someone as belonging to a higher or lower type. It softens or removes any coarse. Here's that picture. She's reading some of Muhammad Ali's hand. Coarse elements found in the archetype. For example, a person with a large amount of Venus and fine skin will be loving, sympathetic, graceful, and interested in all things that lift the heart and senses. They like flowers, music, and poetry. They are highly sentimental. The passion for which Venus is known is present, but it finds expression in a refined manner. Conversely, a prominent amount of Venus accompanied by coarse skin indicates a person who cares little for the finer things of life. Most of this person's energy will go into satisfying his passions and not in a particularly discriminating manner. Both extremes of Venus love pleasure, but there is a wide difference in how they fulfill that drive. We will find examples of these extremes in every archetype. A Mars archetype, the warrior, is not expected to be refined. We think of Mars types as fighters, brave, strong, and often brash. Should we find fine skin on Mars type, the warrior will be unusually gallant and sensitive in the use of his or her force. A refined Mars type can mix with every strata of society, unlike a Mars type with coarse skin who is too rough and unrefined. A lower Mars type would find little pleasure in the things that please people with very fine skin. Coarse skin. Coarse skin feels rough and is often tough and thick. It can feel like unfinished leather, light gray sandpaper, or the bottom of a well-scuffed shoe. Perhaps this is where the expression thick skin originated. These people will be emotionally thick-skinned. The skin cells are large and easily discernible on the back of the hand. This is in stark contrast to seamless, fine-textured skin where the cells are not easily visible. This texture coarsens all the qualities found in the hand and lowers the sensitivity of the person. There is a definite lack of refinement, and the person is apt to be of a lower type. If an Apollyon type known for their creativity, good taste, and love of color should have coarse skin, their good taste goes out the window. Coarse skin produces Apollonians with flashy taste and garish use of color. Do not be deceived by a person's station in life. Affluent people with coarse skin will still have rough edges and unrefined taste and tend toward characteristics at the lower end of the spectrum. People with coarse skin are often bound to the material world of money, senses, and physical pleasures. A person with coarse textured skin could be cruel or heartless. This is not always so, but it is more likely the case when accompanied by other indications. A poor development of the mount of Venus, a cold, straight heart line, or a hard as stone consistency to the palm. People with coarse skin will not be sensitive about their own or other people's feelings. Whatever characteristics you find in the hand, coarse skin will bring them to a lower, cruder expression. Both fine and coarse skin textures are extreme, something out of the ordinary, because they are out of the ordinary. Each of the textures plays a significant role in defining the character of your subject. What we will mostly find is skin of medium texture. Okay, so I'm going to end it for tonight because it's going to be 11 o'clock and I'm sleepy. So when I get a chance, I will finish this chapter. Thank you. Good night.